What's up, everybody? How you doing today? It's Alan Evans here, and we're back with another one, another vid. So it's a little different from the music reactions that I've been doing. So this one, what we're checking out today is is the interview between KNOX Hill and REN. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. What it is, and I have seen this interview, but there's just so many great points and stuff in this interview that from KNOX Hill and also from REN. They just talk on some really great subjects that I feel is important, and from anyone who's never seen this interview and would like to, I will link the original video of this interview in the description box below, so you can go and check out the whole interview by itself, because I'm only going to react to a little bit of it. But there's something that REN does talk about, like losing his best friend, Joe, and stuff like that. So and I feel it's just great to hear REN just to talk a while. I love his music, and I'm sure all the REN fans also do, and and it's just hearing REN talk is just beautiful thing. And also REN has also got I've just noticed earlier that REN has got another music video premiering at 7 o'clock BST time, so I'm looking forward to checking that out as well. It's called was it For Joe? So Joe's best friend who committed suicide. The same, but anyway, REN does talk about that in this interview as well, about his best friend and stuff like that. So I just thought it kind of fit into to check this out. So yeah, so let's get into it and let's see what they're talking about. Let's go.
The money for it. But there is a large portion of our population that does not have the money for it, that cannot afford it, and that often misses and loses out because of the way that our system is set up. Whereas no matter your income level within the United Kingdom, if you have a serious issue, you're going to get seen and you're going to get sorted. That's the difference.
Yeah, although it's a kind of grass is greener side, because we're now so overstretched. If I went in for a mental,
so I guess what I'm talking about here is not the financial situation of, like, in the United States, I think you have to have, like, was it like medical insurance? So if you haven't got that, then you won't get seen to. Whereas here in the UK, we have called the NHS, National Health Service, where you don't have to pay anything. So if you get an injury, you hurt yourself, or you go for mental health and stuff, you can get seen by doctors and stuff for free. But I think that's the difference between United Kingdom and United States, really. And I think that's what they're talking about here, like and stuff like that. But okay, let's carry on.
You're going to get seen and you're going to get sorted. That's the difference.
Yeah, although it's a kind of grass is greener side, because we're now so overstretched. If I went in for a mental health issue, I'd probably be on a years-long waiting list. And then when I'm seen, because
actually that is true. The what Brent just said, want to get seen, like, for a mental health issue problem, you would get on a waiting list for about, probably not a year, it's probably about like between 3 to 6 months. You'd be on a wait. You get put on a waiting list, and and just the way that the National Health Service is set up, and because of how many people that they have to see, and how many, they're just so stretched, because I thought, the NHS are already, like, have been on strike, because of wages and stuff like that, and the cost of living going up, and the way, and they want this, and the NHS need this need a pay rise so they can support themselves, so they can keep their heads above water. And so yeah, absolutely.
For a mental health issue, I'd probably be on a years long waiting list. And then when I'm seen, because of the fact that they've got like 30, 40, 50 appointments that day, it's a bit of a conveyor belt system. So they're not going to spend that attentive care with you. So there's pluses and negatives to both, but
I think,
but at the moment, because we're in a bit of like a recession at the moment in the UK, more and more resources, and because of post-Brexit and stuff, more and more resources are being pulled out of the NHS, and we're really seeing it. Like, if you end up in A&E in the UK on a Friday or Saturday night, it is chaos at the moment. Like, it's absolute chaos.
That's why all the nurses and doctors are now striking, and you've got huge issues with that because they're demanding higher pay for dealing with this, especially the result of COVID and all that. But anyways, we're veering, we're getting into a deeper, different conversation. What I want to bring it back to, right? So you have this moment that's almost like I fucking made it, right? Because you're literally on the cusp of your music career and like really breaking through. You have someone who is successful, who believes in you. You have a label who obviously believes in you, and it's like, I'm here. And then all of a sudden you get sick. So not only do you lose your health, but essentially you lose your music career. And for a lot of people, right, Ren, that's it. Like, you're not recovering from that. You could spiral out. I mean, you could get really depressed. I've had people that have fallen out of the music industry, and yet all of a sudden, all these years later, guess who's blown up? Guess who is absolutely taking off independently? Right? So persistence fucking pays off. But how do you find your way through those waters, through those, being so damn close to everything you ever wanted and dreamed for, and then it's snatched away from you? How do you keep going after that? Like, where?
That's just awful. You've been so close to having everything that you want, that you ever dreamed of, and then just for I think he's about to talk about when he got diagnosed with Lyme disease. Which was when as I've like heard it, that Ren's like with his Lyme disease, he went through a lot of like being misdiagnosed for Lyme disease, and like it was just been misdiagnosed. So therefore, he was diagnosed with something else, and given medication for one thing to help that one thing. Then he didn't have that one thing. It was Lyme disease that he had, and he wasn't getting. No, basically, he wasn't really getting clear. So that's. I think that I feel like that's what they're just about to jump into, but just how that messes you up psychologically, and being so close to your dreams and everything you've ever wanted, and for something just to come along, just trying to snatch that away from you. The devastation and the heartbreak and the turmoil that it brings you into. You know what I mean? It's like the whole world is just falling apart. It's just
waters through those, being so damn close to everything you ever wanted and dreamed for, and then it's snatched away from you. How do you keep going after that? Like, where do you dig deep into?
I think what it was it was a quite a similar time. I was 19, I think, and so one of my best friends who I'd grown up with since I was 8 years old, like the sort of mate that you stay in their house for like a week and you're just there playing consoles together, like, and then like throughout school we'd like it was a year below me, drift apart, come together, but always just like mates, through that, and then like towards the later years just like got even closer. And then like, so I came back from Bath one Christmas and we were sitting, he'd just gone through a couple of consecutive breakups, and we were sitting in the pub together, and this was on Christmas Eve. We were sitting in the pub together, and he was like, "Oh, Ren, man, I'm feeling super down." But he was like the comedian of the group. He's the one that like everyone just laughed, and he was just like, some days I just want to like walk out into the water and just like, I just want to walk until it drowns me, man. And like, but he said it in such like a nonchalant way that we were just like, all right, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was just like very just like, because that was his humor. It was like quite a dark humor. And then yeah, it was a couple of days later. I get a call. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I get a call from my girl mate Ella,
this is where he's talking about his best friend Joe. That committed suicide. Shit, man. Oh, I know what it's like to lose a best friend. Not under those same circumstances, but my I didn't say this before. Like in my Ren video that I did, reaction to his song "Suicide." My best friend, his name's Bob. He died from a stomach aneurysm. It just burst in his stomach. Sorry, I know that's a bit don't sound very nice, but that's true. And the thing was that I was only talking to him that same day, not in person, but on the phone. And I asked him if he was like, "Are you alright, mate? Are you alright?" And then just like back and forth jokes. But we used to always joke together and always have a laugh. We used to always meet at the pub and stuff, and just have a few drinks and you know what I mean, a few bevies. And you know, he was a great bloke, and he and anyway, we was talking. You know, just even on the same day, the very same day, and I like asked him how he was. He said, "Oh, I'm doing great. I'm fine." I said, "Well, we got plans." He said, "Oh, I've got to go into town on the Monday." He passed away on the Saturday, August the 31st, 2019, and later on in that evening, about 8-9 o'clock. That evening he passed away, and I didn't actually find out about that till like 3 days later. So I'm trying to ring him. His phone was just ringing because I didn't know he'd passed away. I didn't know, and I was just devastated. And I didn't know, so I was ringing his phone. It was like his phone's not answering; it's just going to voicemail and. So I went to his house, to his flat, and knocked on his door. Door's locked, no answer. So I went off to the pub to see if he was there, and that's when the landlady of the pub turned around and sat me down, and she told me that my best friend had passed away due to a stomach aneurysm, and it just felt like my whole world just crumbled. It fell apart, and it just felt like the whole world just opened up and just swallowed me whole. I couldn't bear it. So sorry about it, but I can relate to losing the best friend, and to anybody out there that's lost a best friend or a loved one. Stay strong. If you need help, reach out. There is help out there. Get that help, and yeah. But
do you know what I mean? Like he was just like very just like, because that was his humor. It was like quite a dark humor, and then yeah, it was a couple of days later. I get a call. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I get a call from my girl mate Ella, and she's like, "Ren, like Joe's on the bridge. He's just phoned me. He's just saying goodbye. He's saying he's saying he's gonna jump." And I was the closest person who lived to the bridge at the time, so it's 3 in the morning. I'm pulling on my clothes, kind of realizing the gravity of the situation. Sure. I'm sprinting up there. I'm dialing, and he's on the phone. So I'm like, oh, thank fuck he hasn't jumped. And then like I keep redialing as and then halfway up, I'm dialing. It's like, this number is out of service. And I'm like, fuck, you know, get the sinking feeling. I run up to the bridge. So I come from an island called Anglesey, and there's an island connecting the mainland, and there's this big bridge that connects the two, like this big beautiful bridge, and there's even now when I look at it, it's like it's taken on a whole new meaning. But I just got there like probably about 2 minutes too late, maybe, like just and I was so like and after that it was funny, like we never actually found his body. So there was part of us for the next 10 there was part of us for the next 10 days, because the currents are so strong. There's a cross current. There was part of us for the next 10 days that were still holding on to this hope.
Hold on to hope.
Yeah. We were like, maybe there's a way that he went over. He's just like dipped. He took out some money and he's just like fucked off somewhere. So like for the next 10 days, we're like putting up missing posters. We're walking up and down beaches with flashlights. We're looking for him, and then he never showed up. And like there comes a point where you have to just like accept that the Occam's razor, right? The most likely explanation is probably the right one. So like. So yeah, it was tough, man, and you know, but we us boys back home, it was such a tight knit like brotherhood sort of friendship with all of us lot. So there was like 10, 15 of us who like we'd be hanging out every day. We just came close and solidified. And so really, when I started going through my stuff, which was really difficult to deal with, like, you know, losing your dreams, everything. Like I was just like, I'm not. And I used to get calls from Joe's mum crying, you know, early hours in the morning, trying to make sense of it all. And I was like, I can't ever put my mum through this, and I can't ever put my friends through this. You know what I mean? Like, so that was mainly the thing. I think it's because I knew.
I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, man. I knew what it was from the person on the receiving end of that, and I don't blame him. I'm not angry with him. Like, he did what he did. It was a rash decision. I don't actually believe that he intended to. I think it was a call for help that went wrong. But like I knew what that felt like, and so I was like, I don't really want to ever, no matter how hard my suffering gets, I really wanted my illness to kill me. Like, sorry to get very deep about this, but I wanted to be absolved of the responsibility because I was in so much pain. I was like, I really hope that I just die, because then I don't. There's no one has to be like, feel like we could have done more, we could have said this, because that's what used to go around in my head. It was like, if I'd have said this, if I'd have run quicker, if I would have, like, all of these things, like, would constantly make me feel guilty.
That's the thing. In a situation like that, I'm sorry. It's just, yeah, you know, you always feel like when something like this happens, you always feel like you could have done more. You always, and you know, sometimes I think about my best friend and the way that he passed away. It's just, I feel like, oh, if only there was something I could have done. So it's only, you know, if only I could have been there to help him. You know, if only the ambulance was able to turn up and be able to revive him and save him. If only there was something that I was able to do to keep him here, to keep my best friend here. You know, it's just, you know, it's just that the guilt. You know, it's just, that's tough. That's really tough. And, you know, man. And when that's like that. When I found out that my best friend passed away, I could go to. I didn't want to cry in front of anybody else. I freaking just came home. I locked myself in this room, and I just literally just cried my eyes from when I found out. It's hard.
That's what used to go around in my head. It was like, if I'd have said this, if I'd have run quicker, if I would have, like, all of these things, like, would constantly make me feel guilty almost. Like, if that day when he told me he wanted to walk into water, I just didn't leave his side. All of those things, like, I never and obviously with retrospect, I had no control over that situation. Do you know what I mean? So like, so that and I learned that, and I went to a lot of therapy to get over that and come to peace with that feeling of guilt. But like, I never wanted to make anyone feel that feeling of guilt that I felt. So that was the thing, mate. That was
kind of the catalyst. Like,
yeah,
wow, yeah. I mean, when I was at my lowest and really struggling with a lot of shit, that singular thought, I think, is what eventually pulled me out. Was seeing what suicide did to others. And I had a.
And I'm not going to be reacting too much more of this, but because the video's getting long. But what I'm going to say is that it's going to be harsh, but it's I feel that committing suicide, like ending. If you commit suicide and you feel like, oh, if I just do like jump off this bridge, if I just just end my own life, and that's it, that's the pain ended. But it's not. What you're really doing is just really just passing the pain onto others, onto your family members and friends and family. Because because then you're putting them through your pain, through you're not ending the pain. You're just literally just passing it on onto others, onto your family members, and onto your friends as well. And other stuff, but yeah.
I think is what eventually pulled me out was seeing what suicide did to others. And I had a girl I was really close with, and her father was in the military. He suffered from post-traumatic stress. He didn't do very well. And I'll never forget the conversation when he called her just before that was it for him. And she was the last person that he spoke to. And just watching that impact on her and watching other people that I've known. And it was kind of like no matter what's happening, no matter how low I feel, I'm not going to place that burden and that guilt on someone else, because I can't bear to see them go through that. I don't want to see my family deal with it. I don't want to see my friends deal with it. So yeah, I mean, to take a darker, deeper path, but it was that singular thought. I can completely relate to that. That's like just a little bit of light, I guess, that you have something to now reach towards.
And you really feel it. And I suppose it's like, I guess you'll relate to this. I think what makes artists is you really try and understand you from somebody else's perspective. So there's a lot of empathy involved, and I think that empathy stopped me doing it, because I really wanted to. Yep. I'll be honest, I wanted an easy way out, because I remember saying to my mum a year into it, I was like, Mum, if I have to go through a year of this again, I'm just letting you know that there's no way I can do another year. And then 2 years, and then 3 years, and then 4 years, and by the time you're just like, and that it was really coming sort of full circle with it. That's kind of with High Ren. That's kind of what I wanted with the speech at the end. That's the place that I came to when I really started enjoying life again. Like, I was just like, you know what, like, and it's also when the tide started shifting, when I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna die. Maybe I'm gonna die before I hit 30 years old, but like, okay, that's okay. Like that, it just is what it is. Like, some people aren't lucky enough to see 5. Like, and with that acceptance just came, it was just sort of relief, man. It was a weight off my shoulders. Yeah. And the funny thing, that almost sounds a little bit morbid, but it stayed with me. And I don't, if someone was like, a lot of people are running away from death, right? If something happened tomorrow, I'm not scared of that. Like I'm not scared of dying. And that stuck with me since that acceptance. It's just like, but while I'm here, I'm just trying to make the most of it now that I've lived most of my bed in kind of most of my life in purgatory, basically, essentially.
I think what you really appreciate, especially being so close to death, is the value of time. And how, we're just floating around on a rock in space, and our time really is finite, know, so make the most out of the time that is here, because so many people take time for granted. They don't even realize it until it's too late, isn't it? Yeah,
that's it. And also this kind of like paradox that I wrestled with of like, there's a liberating feeling thinking that we are feeling like we are just insignificant little tiny blips in time. Like, if you look at the timeline of the Earth and drop a little tiny grain of salt, that will probably be the time that we're alive on this big scheme of thing as a species. But then also as well, like, that's almost like quite nihilistic, is that we're also really, really important because we are alive right now and we are having this experience. And there's something, I don't really know where my spiritual alliances lie, but there's something for me quite spiritual about the fact that I am a human being having a human being experience right now. So like, I'm just going to go with the gut feeling of what it's telling me to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very good points. Time is limited. We're not promised tomorrow, and so while we're here today, let's make the most of it. Yeah, I think that I wanted to check this out because Ren does, and Knox Hill as well. They have some really good points, and they really touch on some really great subjects. Topics rather in this during this interview. But it's absolutely amazing. Big up to Knox Hill, big up to Ren for making this interview. I think it's fantastic. I definitely recommend checking this out. I will link the full interview and this whole video in the description box below if you want to go and check it out. So if you haven't seen it, but yeah, that's gonna. I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to just to hear Ren just speak and and just hear his thoughts and stuff like that, and you know what I mean. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. For anyone out there that's lost a loved one, reach out, get help, and stuff like that. That's the overall message. But yeah, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be all for now. Ren is premiering a music video called For Joe. I think that's what it's called. I think it's about 7 o'clock BST, British Standard Time. So tonight, so I will be checking that out. So if you want to, anyway, I was about to go and say something. I can't remember where I was going to go with it. But anyway, this video is long enough as it is. It's over. Anyway, I really appreciate this. This interview is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, till the next one, guys. Be safe, be healthy. I'll see you in the next vid. Peace out.